Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a bit of a different path. Instead of our usual deep dive into complex systems, we're focusing on something, well, deeply human and often quite unsettling. We've gathered some real-life stories. These aren't just horror tales. They're moments where ordinary life took a sharp, terrifying turn. We want to unpack these encounters, look at the psychology, and maybe find some patterns in the fear.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How quickly reality can feel like it's twisting into a nightmare, especially when you're unprepared or you have no idea what someone else's intentions are. And what really stands out in these stories is the impact, the psychological stuff that lingers, long after the immediate threat is gone.
Absolutely. So let's start with this one. It begins pretty innocently in autumn hike. Our storyteller and their best friend wanted solitude, so they picked a rainy Tuesday. Empty trail. Perfect, or so they thought. They're just a few minutes in, and the friend spots something, a face, staring from the trees, maybe 20 feet off the path. At first glance, it looked like a person, but nope, it was just a cheap plastic mask, the type, just nailed to a tree, sort of blending in with the branches. Really creepy placement.
And right there, that's interesting, that immediate sense of something being off. It's not even the object itself necessarily, but where it is. That unexpectedness triggers unease, doesn't it?
Right. Well, the narrator felt that unease, but the friend, maybe thinking it was a joke, pulls the mask down. And inside, a note, it said, "Number 1, go behind this tree and continue walking until you find number 2. I figured, okay, maybe it's a park scavenger hunt. So, kind of weird, but they went with it, found a second mask, then a third. 5 in total, each with a similar instruction. The note in the very last mask, just 2 words. See soon. They tried to laugh it off, but the narrator said he felt this creeping dread. Started hearing noises. Okay, fast forward a few hours. He's dropped his friend off. He's home alone, getting ready for bed. It's late, almost 11. He hears something outside, looks out his window. And there were 5 people on his front lawn wearing the exact same kind of masks from the woods. They were just dancing, moving really strangely, like some kind of bizarre celebration. And every minute or so, they'd rush the front door, ring the bell like crazy, then run back to the lawn and keep dancing.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge escalation from finding notes in the woods to this. It really makes you question the initial setup, doesn't it? Was that hunt just a prank? Or was it something else, like setting the stage? That shift from a passive message, see you soon, to an active direct presence at his home, that's terrifying.
And it got worse. In the minutes before the police showed up, they stopped just ringing the bell. They started banging on the door.
Yeah.
Not just fists, like throwing their bodies against it, shaking the whole house. He said he could feel the vibrations upstairs. It took the police about 10 minutes, felt like forever, I bet. As soon as the masked people saw the police lights, they just scattered, vanished. No one caught, no forced entry, so the police couldn't do much. He bought a Ring camera the next day, understandably. It's been a year, they haven't come back, but he's left wondering, prank. Or something way more sinister. That ambiguity must be awful.
Oh, absolutely. And that ambiguity, that lack of resolution, that's often what causes the most lasting psychological distress. Our research shows the mind really struggles with the unknown. It cycles, trying to make sense of it, filling blanks with worst-case scenarios. It can lead to hypervigilance, anxiety, because there's no closure. You don't know why.
That makes total sense. Okay, next story. This one comes from a woman who admits she's not really a hiker, but her husband loves it, so she went along. They had a nice day, pumpkin patch, the usual fall stuff. Then her husband suggests a hike at a nearby park. But here's the thing. The park was closed for renovations. Big signs up, no trespassing, chain link fence, the whole deal. But they saw other cars parked there. So the husband figures, people are sneaking in anyway. She's hesitant, but agrees to just peek around for a bit. They get pretty deep into the woods and find this small building. Looked portable, kind of new, really at a place in a closed park.
And again, we see that boundary crossing, deciding to trespass, even casually. It immediately puts you in a more vulnerable position outside the expected zones of safety. And that building, isolated, new, in a closed area, it's another one of those something's not right signals.
Totally. As they get closer, they hear voices from inside.
Yeah.
Muffled, but angry. Now, instead of backing away, they kind of instinctively duck down beside the building, maybe trying to hide before running. Her husband's taller, so he puts his ear to the window to try and hear better. She's watching him, and she just sees the color drain from his face. Eyes wide with just pure terror. All he says in this choked whisper is, "We need to go, right now." Grabs her arm, and they just sprint. back the way they came, jump in the car, speed off. He kept checking the rear view mirror the whole way home. Then, when they got back, he immediately called the police, but he did it from inside the car, specifically so she couldn't hear the conversation.
And that's the really chilling part here, isn't it? His reaction. Extreme, lasting fear about something he won't talk about. It speaks to that idea of horrors that are almost literally unspeakable. Sometimes the unseen or the half-glimpsed or the thing you can't comprehend is way more terrifying than a clear threat. Psychologically, if the brain can't process or categorize something that terrifying, it can get stuck, leading to trauma.
And that seems to be exactly what happened. To this day, she has no idea what he saw or heard through that window. He begged her, apparently, never to ask him about it again, and she respected that. But it changed him. He developed severe insomnia right after that day. He tries to pass it off as work stress, but she knows it started that day. Every single night, she says, after she falls asleep, he gets up, goes to the living room, sits facing the front door, just sits there completely still until he eventually just passes out from exhaustion. That hidden burden. Wow. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Our next story involves a couple, experienced hikers who loved exploring unmarked trails up in the Northeast. It's a crisp October afternoon. They stop for a break in this nice little clearing, a couple of tree stumps to sit on. Seems perfect. They're packing up, about to leave, when they hear rustling just beyond the trees. They figure it's an animal, maybe deer, maybe something else, so they're cautious. They go to check it out, and what they find is, well, it's hard to explain. A young woman, early 20s maybe, very pretty, and she's wearing this beautiful white dress down to her knees. But
she's barefoot, feet and legs covered in dirt, and she's just pacing back and forth erratically, mumbling, groaning. Sometimes she just laughed to herself.
That is profoundly disturbing. It completely messes with your expectations of human behavior. You're immediately asking, is this person having a medical emergency, a psychological crisis, or is it something else? That mix of a normal human appearance with behavior that seems almost feral. It's deeply unsettling. It triggers alarm bells because it's so outside the norm.
Exactly. They're totally unsure how to react, but they call out, are you okay? Do you need help? She freezes, stops dead in her tracks, turns towards them. And instead of answering, she hisses, like a full-on cat hiss. The narrator was very clear. It wasn't a guess. It was a hiss. Then silence. And she just bolts, sprints off into the woods, away from them. The wife, bless her heart, wanted to help. She actually chased after her for a bit. But this woman, barefoot, was incredibly fast, disappeared into the trees. They called the park rangers. The rangers weren't thrilled they were on unmarked trails, but they did search. For days, found absolutely nothing. No tracks, no sign of her. Her description didn't match any missing persons reports either, just vanished.
Which leads to this idea of a complete disappearance, right? She was never there. The utter lack of explanation for who she was, why she was there, her behavior, her speed, and then just gone. That's what makes it stick with you. It's a mystery with no solution, leaving this residue of unease.
Yeah, absolutely no answers. They still wonder about her. The wife even went back a few times to look, but nothing. Just gone. Okay, our final account for today. This involves a hiker and her dog, Baker, a big 90-pound Burmese. They had a favorite trail they walked often, but over about 3 years, things on this trail went from just odd to genuinely terrifying. She admits she probably shouldn't have kept going back, but she loved the trail. It started about 3 years back. Winter. Baker, her dog, who's usually friendly, starts growling, like a deep, serious growl she'd never heard. She looks up, sees a man standing in the shadows off the trail, just watching them. When he sees she spotted him, he starts walking slowly toward them, head down. Then he just veers off into the woods, walks up to a tree, kind of hugs it, staring out at the valley. Weird, but maybe harmless. A year later, same trail. Baker growls again, same guy. This time he's standing near a bridge, just waiting. Lets them cross, even though he could have walked on. She gets a weird feeling, turns around, and sure enough, he's following them now. So she sits down, pulls out her phone, makes it obvious she sees him. He stops, waits, then keeps walking past her when she's on the phone. Later on that same hike, she finds a big stick, sharpened, like someone carves a point onto it with a knife, left near the trail.
Okay, now we're seeing a clear pattern. This isn't random anymore. Observation, then waiting, then following, and the sharpened stick. That suggests potential intent. It's an escalation from just being weird to being potentially threatening. Stalking behaviors often involve testing boundaries like this, escalating the interaction to gauge reaction or instill fear.
Exactly. Then another year passes. It's snowy. She sees trees along the trail that have these frowning faces carved into the snow on them. Baker growls again at something she can't see. They just turned around and left that day. A few months after that, just recently, she finds writing on a tree. In chalk, it says, "I see you." That was it. That was the tipping point. She immediately called park rangers, called the police, reported everything. And here's where it gets really alarming. She posted about it in some local online hiking groups, and other women started coming forward. Same park, similar stories. One woman was stalked on that exact same trail by a guy wearing a full snowsuit in July. Another was followed all the way back to her car, seeing someone watching her from the trees at different points.
And that's huge, that collective awareness. Suddenly, it's not just one person's maybe paranoia. It's a pattern, a documented threat. Sharing that information is so crucial. It validates everyone's fear and turns these isolated incidents into something actionable. You see the power of community there.
Totally. And through sharing photos and details, someone recognized him. Turns out his own cousin reported him, the suspect, an old park ranger. He was known for climbing trees, apparently had photos of himself way up high, like 50 feet, which suggests he was the one leaving the messages, making the snow faces, watching from above. And the most disturbing part, someone found his hidden spot deep in those woods. It contained a chainsaw and gasoline. So police and rangers know now. They have his name, photo, the location of his stash. The community is basically waiting to see what happens next. From just a weird feeling to this. It's quite a journey. So these stories, they really hammer home that real-life horror. It's often not ghosts or monsters. It's the unsettling things people do, the unknown intentions, those moments where you suddenly feel completely unsafe. We look to me not just at the scary events, but at the psychology behind them, the fear, the patterns, how people react.
Right. And it makes you think, doesn't it? How many unsettling things might happen just out of sight, just beneath the surface? Understanding how we perceive threats, how our brains handle ambiguity, how danger signals can escalate, that's the real takeaway. It's about the human psyche, really, both the one causing the fear and the one experiencing it. And maybe, just maybe, understanding these patterns, being aware of those subtle shifts, that's a form of protection in itself, even when everything seems normal.
Well said. We hope these accounts, and maybe our chat about them, have given you something to think about. Maybe made you pause, reflect on those hidden corners, and perhaps, look a little closer next time you're out somewhere quiet. Thanks for joining us for this unsettling deep dive. Until next time, please stay aware and stay safe.